Did anyone else want recognition on this? Ms. Davis, did you?
Well, you know, I don't think we don't change any minds in these discussions, and I think that people have to really vote their consciences in these areas. And if I felt that children who for some families they were choosing that after a number of children, they didn't want more children, whatever that may be, and somebody was willing to help that family out with those, in those instances, I would feel somewhat better. But I know that, just like my colleague asked, we know that that's not true, that it's not extended to provide that support for that child as that child is growing up. The burden falls on the family that, in fact, in some cases may not be able to handle that burden very well. So I believe that there are cases where we need to respect the families who are making those decisions, and to respect those families that may or may not be able to afford the services that perhaps it is, you know, a society way of saying that we recognize that children need to be treated somewhat equally, and families need to be treated somewhat equally with that kind of support. You know, it's a lot like being certain that children who are sitting next to your child in school have medical care. It's important that that child has medical care, because that child will certainly be in close contact with a child that does. That's why we're doing this. That's why this is important. And I think in this regard, it's also important to think about the implications. And that's why I don't agree with the Hyde Amendment. I understand why people do, and I totally respect that. But I think as we're trying to move forward to think about another way of delivering services where we're trying to make them accessible and affordable to people, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me at this time to put requirements on it that we know could have some consequences for families who aren't in a position to access those services in any other way.
Who seeks recognition?
We certainly don't want people disadvantaged or women disadvantaged by having to seek services that are not legal.